Prototype-specific functionality. So I mentioned this earlier. You want specific functionality for your system. You want to integrate with a particular system. You want to search across your library or catalog. You want to be able to integrate with your HR system. Get these companies to actually show you specific examples of how that will work. Like I said, it's very easy to see through the marketing gloss of these systems. So moving on to the community, I mentioned the community. That's Plone conference last year in Naples. How centralized is the project? Is it just one organization, one company that's developing this project, or are there lots of companies out there? What about what's called the bus number? How many people need to be run over by a bus to kill the project? Yeah, you laugh, but it's the same thing with commercial. I mentioned with commercial software that a vendor can get bought out. With open source things, if there's one company supporting it and they get bought out, or they go bust, or they change their mind and decide to go and do something else, then you could end up with issues. How easy is it to interact with the community? What do they have in terms of mailing lists, conferences, sprints, which are very concise development meetings where they get a bunch of people together and work on particular bits of code? What about special interest groups? So things like universities might have very specific requirements. Non-government organisations might have very specific requirements. So do they have special interest groups that specifically use that software within the field that you're looking to use it in? What about published books? Does the community publish books on the topic? Can you look online and see development manuals? Can you see how to how to actually go about extending the system, how to use the system? And what about things like legal foundations, licenses and trademarks? How do you go about that? There was a open source content management system called Mambo. It was created by a company called Mira in Australia. Now they had an issue where a lot of their developers decided they didn't like the direction that the commercial company Mira behind it were going, and so they decided to fork off and start their own project. A project now known as Joomla. Now, of course, they couldn't keep the Mambo name. They had to change their name. They had to change all the licenses, the trademarks, all that kind of thing. The Plone Foundation, for instance, hold all the intellectual property rights for Plone. So no one company is in control of that. It's a not-for-profit organisation, like a trust and escrow organisation, effectively.